Okay, our first test recording, pages 121 to 123, seems to have succeeded, so I'm going to move on. We just spoke about natural classes. We referred to this when we looked at the six final consonants in a noun that cause the is plural, bushes, etc. And we concluded that all six of those sounds are part of a natural class. We concluded, in fact, they were all strident and coronal. So this brings us to a discussion of natural classes, which we see 2/3 of the way down page 123 with a definition. A natural class is a set of phonemes uniquely defined by a small number of distinctive features, such that the set plays a significant role in expressing the phonological regularities found in human language. Now, I think the most important part of this definition is simply small number of distinctive features. It's possible to put a class of phonemes together that happen to be, for example, nasal, lateral, affricate, round, minus anterior, minus high, and minus back. Possible. Will that group form a natural class? That's unlikely. What you're typically looking for is a group of phonemes that match maybe two distinctive features, maybe even a third. So what we're really talking about is groups of phonemes that meet, that contain about two of the distinctive features that we see in the table on page 114, 115. And we conclude that they're likely to have some sort of effect or be affected upon in a phonological environment. So that's natural classes, basically. Now, note, we saw in the phonetics chapter, we talked about the aspiration class now. Sorry, not aspiration class. Aspiration of initial consonants. And you'll remember that with great drama, I held up a sheet of paper to my mouth and I showed you how we aspirate an initial P. Pop. And you can see the paper moving there. We typically say only the three stops, P, T, and K, cause aspiration. But let's see, can we put those three sounds into a natural class? Up until now, we've simply been calling them the three unvoiced stops. But what if we look at that as a natural class and use the distinctive features to see what they have? Well, all three of those sounds, according to our distinctive feature table, are non-continuant and non-voiced. That's the only thing they have in common. However, if we look at the distinctive feature table, we'll see there is actually a fourth sound that meets those criteria as well. It's the ch sound, the T-esh sound. The S, that's that elongated S. And it's the ch sound you get at the start of a word like church. This is also non-continuant and non-voiced. Now, if that's the case, we expect from our aspiration rule that if we start a word with church, there's going to be aspiration on that sound as well. Hopefully it's going to work. And here I am trying this for the first time. Let's see if this paper moves. church, well, kind of moved. You'll just have to accept it from me that the ch sound initially in a word is aspirated, and that group of sounds, P, T, K, and that ch sound, TH, are part of that natural class. We don't really have a name for the class, we just know that it's a class of sounds. Now, I want to move on and talk a little about Amharic, which is a widely spoken language in Ethiopia. And I want to apply this natural class rule to a feature of Amharic. I'm not going to be teaching you Amharic, don't worry. I'm not even going to be teaching you Amharic grammar. But we're going to postulate right now that there are two sounds. I'm 3/4 of the way down page 124. You'll see here under Amharic, it says, in Amharic, a language spoken in Ethiopia, the vowel lowercase I is a variant of the vowel inverted V. And then we get a list of the words where this happens, all the way from A to L. Now, Ethiopians, speakers of Amharic, don't recognize that they're making two different sounds. Just as, for instance, New Jerseyans don't really recognize that they're producing a glottal stop, not a T, in words like mitten and kitten, the old examples I'm always providing in class. Ethiopians, Amharic speakers are kind of the same thing. Now, what we find from analyzing speakers of Amharic, the way they pronounce these words, is that the lowercase I vowel in every case follows the list of consonants provided 2 lines into the text on page 125. J, ch, j, ny, and sh. And that the inverted V sound follows every other consonant. Now, it seems very likely that that group of sounds somehow form a natural class. And if we analyze, again, one of those sounds isn't in English, so you're not going to see it on page 114, 115, but the rest are all there. And what you will find is that all of those sounds fall into a natural class consisting of high coronals. That's only 2 features, plus high, plus coronal. And when that happens, the lowercase I sound is made after those consonants. Otherwise, the inverted V sound is made. So it's fairly obvious that we've found ourselves a natural class there. Now, do note 3 paragraphs from the end of page 125, an interesting observation. And this does sort of change things a little, and this brings me back to what I was saying about the list of vowels on page 116. You'll see that several of these words, high, back, low, round, tense, are shared with features of consonants. And so another observation we need to make at this point of phonology is that vowels and consonants very often share similar features. Now, take a look at what's being said at that point to 2 paragraphs up on page 125 from the bottom of the page. The vowel inverted V has the features plus back and minus high. The vowel lowercase I has the features minus back and plus high. So they're dissimilar. But the 5 consonants that we were speaking about just there, they share the features minus back and plus high with the vowel lowercase I. And now you can see why the vowel lowercase I is made after those consonants. It's a feature of assimilation. Sounds that are close together, that have the same features, tend to fall together. So that's the observation being made, page 123 to 125 there. And all that's really happening on the top of page 126 there is some conclusion. That, I think, is easily enough read yourselves. I don't think there's anything too complicated in that paragraph. So I am going to knock off this portion of the lecture right now and move on to the syllable portion of this chapter, that is 4.3 on page 126 in the next lecture.